Whilst the Argo MOLE is designed to be a multi-crew mining ship, many people do take it out solo. With all of the excitement around salvage over the past year, however, it's not something I've personally done in quite some time. So, to rectify that situation, I picked up the Argo MOLE once again, and this is the first outing in the ship. I'm Forrester, and this gameplay video shows what I'd describe as an amateur miner. When reviewing ships for the channel, I often take many weeks of flying, and rather than show just the end product, I thought you might be interested in seeing me at the start of that journey, very rusty. The sequence you'll see is an uncut sequence, from taking the ship out to selling the refined goods, although some parts have been sped up to keep the overall length of the video down. Those parts are clearly marked as such. So, with that warning of the amateur mining skills ahead, let's get into it. And here we go, starting out by spawning in the ship. So, I should point out I have been out and about in the Prospector of many a recent patch. The Prospector is usually my preferred solo mining ship. Nothing against the MOLE, but the Prospector is very much designed for it. There's none of this getting up, getting out of the chair sort of nonsense that you have to do with the MOLE, so it just feels a bit more simple. That said, I've got a lot of love for the MOLE, so I've been quite looking forward to getting out and doing this solo MOLE mining adventure. And here's a lovely shot of that bright orange Argo MOLE. It does have an industrial look to the ship, but I really like it. Really like it. I've chosen the moon of Walla for this one. I wanted somewhere fairly close to ArcCorp. I do tend to prefer to do mining around ArcCorp. I don't know whether it harks back to the olden days of scouring Lyria for Quantanium, but it feels a little bit off the beaten path, which is exactly what you want when you're out mining. And after a little bit of scanning, found the first series of rocks. I'll try flying in close and do a bit of scanning to see what we're dealing with. Fortunately, very bright there. That me firing those badger repeaters was me thinking that I was in scanning mode, and I wasn't. I did tell you it was going to be an amateur session. There we go. So we've got some hephaestonite in there. That's not the worst thing. If you've been out mining with me before, you'll know I'm not super picky. I'll pick anything that's got materials in it. See, there's Terranite in there, that's very nice. I'll pick anything that's got materials which sells for a decent sum. So I'm not necessarily looking for like just Quantanium or anything like that. Anything that is kind of high tier or medium tier of refined goods, I would take quite happily. So one of the first challenges that solo MOLE miners face is actually positioning the ship. This is one of the biggest challenges, particularly when you're mining planet side. And I'm conscious of this challenge, but I'm also conscious it's been well over a year since I was last in the ship. So I know that the positioning might not be perfect for these rocks, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. To the mining turret, and then looking around for the power on button. Sure it was up the top. Not down there, not down there. There it is. Fling up the laser intensity, watch that rock bubble away very quickly, it seems. A little bit into the overcharge. MOLE is instantly, or it feels a little bit better shielded than the Prospector, so I don't mind a bit of overcharge in this ship versus some of the others. First rock broken up into bits. So I thought this was important to show a little bit of a different approach to... I think in a lot of the videos that are produced on this channel, people think that I'm an expert on everything about the game, and as much as I try to keep informed about lots of things, I'm kind of just a normal player, and if it's something that I've not done in a while, I'm very rusty and you forget things. And I thought this video I wanted to kind of showcase the start of that. So I am planning to review the Argo MOLE again for the channel over the next few weeks, and so rather than just show that end article of kind of building the experience over that time, I thought it'd be interesting to show the very start of that journey, literally the first time taking the mole out for a mining trip. So far we'll just grab Terranite, which is a good start. You'll see, because of the positioning of the ship, there's nothing else that I can grab, so I'm going to have to go back up, move the ship so that I can get back into the turret and mine again. And this is something that once you're familiar with the mole, just getting into the side turret here to see if it's any better. Once you're familiar with the mole, like, this will be less of an issue. It's still an issue. The ship isn't as kind of easy to use and mine with as the Prospector, but once you know what you're looking for the sight picture from that cockpit chair, it is definitely a lot easier to kind of position the ship correctly the first time around. So that's something that comes with experience using the ship. And just mopping up what's left, what I can find. Bit of aluminium, bit of gold, some Terranite. Some longer range mining. Quite like this about the mole, that you don't have to be right up on things to still mine away. And then we'll fly away, search for the next set of rocks. So obviously I've sped up a lot of this footage. It's down as ×12 in the bottom left. I think that's because once you've seen a bit of something, like, I'm not one to repeat it for the sake of it. Try and show some different things, my process as we go along. Actually quite relaxing watching this kind of like flying over the terrain in ×12 speed. A couple of those rocks hadn't spawned in properly. That happens as well. That happens in the Prospector as well, though. So generally speaking, I tend to choose a direction and fly in that direction. So I tend to prefer either east or west. In this case, I was flying pretty much west and then just looking for signs of something. And here we've found it. Now this is a big kind of group of rocks down here. So my thought is if I can try and position the ship where the turret can reach a few different rocks, that might be advantageous. But it's easier said than done. Head back down to the turret. That's a nice size of rock here. 9,300 mass. And 37% of that is Hephaestonite. Which again, it's not the most profitable. It's not a Contanium equivalent, but it definitely sells for a decent chunk. We dive deeply into overcharged territory there. There we go, that rock should break okay. little nudge on the shields because we're overcharged, but that seems to be okay in the mole. And now that I've broken the rock, it's very difficult to actually get the turret to see it. So turret has a very low angle of view compared to the ground level zero horizon view on the cockpit, which makes it quite difficult when you're solo mining planet side, because when you're in a landed configuration it can be quite difficult to get that turret tall enough. So sometimes you find yourself like propping the mole up so that you can you're facing above the horizon so that the turret has a better angle. But these are the sort of things that you figure out with experience of actually using a ship. And that's why I thought it might be interesting to show. I don't know. Maybe not. You can let me know in the video comments if you like seeing kind of that journey, or if you'd rather just see the, hey, Forrester knows what he's doing at the end of it. There's a really awkward little piece here that I'm trying to extract, and the ship keeps like jogging a tiny bit in the wind, which is making it a bit awkward. There we are, I managed to get it. Right, back out, hop into the pilot's chair, and do the little mole dance again. So once again, sped up to ×12. You could see there just trying to adjust the position of the mole so that it was easier to grab these things. I'm just exploding some of these rocks that I don't think I'm going to need. That's a good tip if you're in like an environment on your own where there's lots of things to mine. You can just explode the ones that you know you're not going to want. And as long as you're far enough away that you don't kind of damage your own ship, that can be a good way to keep track of what you want to keep track of. Now here are a couple of absolutely massive rocks. So I'm going to give them a go, see what happens. No joy. We'll try the next one. Sometimes with those absolutely huge rocks, they will say, oh, it's impossible. And sometimes it is impossible, and sometimes it's not impossible. So I always give them a go and see. Because if you can break the first one, obviously it breaks into smaller chunks, and from there, you're absolutely laughing. And here I've been able to actually prop up the mole on one of the big rocks that I'm not going to be able to break, which has made it much easier to get into the others. So a handy little spot. So at this point I've been mining for a little while, so I'm actually going to head back to set up the refinery job. It's not been the best of outings, but it's not been bad either. On the way in, I just thought I'd check these rocks and see if I could grab anything else on the way in, but that one's a rock that spawned with no minables in it. And that one's the same. So, just going to cut my losses and head back to the station. And you could see there, actually, even though there was nothing in those rocks, for space mining, the same kind of like restrictions on the mole don't exist, because you don't have to be level on the ground. So here we go at the refinery. Start our refinery job. Now, my usual preferred method is the Dinix solvenation. I'm going to try this with just the most profitable things and see if 36 hours. Well, I don't much fancy waiting 36 hours. So we'll try a different method. And we'll go with a ferron exchange. So 12 hours. So I might as well add in the other stuff. 13 hours 22. I'm happy with that. So total cost 12.8k for the refining. And then with the magic of video editing, here we are back again after the event to pick up that completed order. Now, because we've not done a full mole's worth here, it will all fit on the C1 Spirit, which I'm very happy about because the C1 is very easy to fly. If I had to take a big cargo haul, it would feel like a bigger job. A C1, no problem. Assuming you can get out of the hangar doors without scratching your wings, of course. So here we are, quantum into Arco, Area 18. I have a good look around to try and find the spaceport, which is not always the easiest when there's cloud cover. There it is. Landing bay signed, hop in, and then we'll go and sell up. So in total for this session, it was about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So 1 hour and 15 minutes getting the mole out, doing some mining, getting back to the refinery, and then 15 minutes from the refinery down to ArcCorp. So 1 hour 30. This is for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing either. Well, it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, but I definitely don't know the ins and outs of the mole in the same way that I used to a while back. So learning the ship again, and we'll select the C1 Spirit, and we'll start selling up. I don't think we found particularly good rocks either, to be fair. There was probably some good rocks if you had a full mole, but for a partial run, you'd be looking for something very specific to fill up on goodies. That mole wasn't even half full really by the time it got back to the station. So here we are selling up. We've got most of the good stuff now. A bit of beryllium. And then the Hephaestonite, 32k. So in total, that's 121k of goods, minus the refinery cost means a total profit of 108k. That's not the best for a 1.5 hour session, but it seems alright nonetheless. Hopefully you found it interesting to see a less polished, more honest video about getting back on the horse again after a while. If you enjoyed this video, pressing the like button will let me know I should make more like this, and if you're not yet subscribed, given that you've got this far, you probably want to do that too. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.